Hey, everybody, I'm Al Madrigal here with my good friend Jay Larson, and welcome to The Dust Up. Today we are going to be talking about the Malice in the Palace, but before we get there, we're going to catch up on some of our favorite TV shows. Jay has a baguette incident, and I'm going to talk about my I almost said high school basketball. But I played elementary school.
Elementary school, the big difference.
And I got cut from every single sports team that I ever tried out for.
Unbelievable.
Football, they took everybody, and they did not take me. And I'm still upset about it to this day. I just wanted to play football so bad. Anyway, we're talking about Malice in the Palace, and we're also going to talk about an incident where I sent a small Filipino man to the snack bar so he didn't get the shit kicked out of him. And we go through some of the most famous and little-known name changes of all time. You are listening to The Dust Up.
Dust up, dust up, dust up. Ooh, dust up, dust up, dust up. Yeah.
All right, welcome to The Dust Up. Jay, how are you? How you been? How you doing?
Hey, how you been?
How you been?
There's different ways to ask people how you doing.
I also think, like, we talk so much. I know how you're doing. I
yeah,
do.
but it's still nice. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I appreciate it. I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, this is my problem with binge television. Is last night my buddy stopped by. He got the new Tesla, and he's like, "Can I bring it by?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let me see this thing. It's rad."
What is the new Tesla? The Cybertruck?
No, but I've been in the Cybertruck. Thing's sick. The new Tesla, like, there are no, like windshield wipers. You have like a little stick. The new Tesla, there's none. It's a button on the steering wheel for left-hand directional, right-hand directional, wipers, everything.
Oh, it's too much.
It's not bad. I mean, I'm holding out for this Rivian, the one that looks like a rally car, but whatever.
The Rivian 3?
Yeah, the R3.
Yeah, that looks
thing
pretty
looks
cool.
sick. But so he pops by, and then we end up playing a game of backgammon, and he tells me, he goes, "You know what show you got to watch?" And I go, "What?" And he said, "Baby Reindeer."
I've heard about this. The guy's a comic. The woman is a con artist. She sits down at a bar and she can tell she's bullshitting, and that's all I know.
I just binged the whole thing last night.
Did you?
I did. So I did the same thing, Aaron. I watched last night. I couldn't watch. I had to get to bed, so I watched 5 episodes.
Coincidentally, last night, neighbor texts me, "Are you watching Baby Reindeer?"
Yeah, I mean, it's in the zeitgeist. It's not really about a comedian until like episode 4. Don't you agree, Aaron? It's just really about this guy, and then episode 4 is you. That's what I like about it. You start the story here, right, Al? 3 episodes, and then on episode 4, it's really what happened before all this. I like how they do it. It's unique. It's well done, and it's dark. It's definitely got some darkness, but it's calling attention to things that people don't normally call attention to.
And it's doing well, I'm sure. Because people are all talking about it.
Yeah, it's doing really well.
There were some articles about it, and people were sort of like trying to guess who these people were in real life. Is that what it is? Aaron, you know anything about that?
I'd bet the people are trying to guess who the male writer that assaults him is.
Oh, right.
Oh, shit. I don't know anything about that. We don't spoil it.
Oh.
I just finished The Gentleman and Shogun. If you're not watching The Gentleman is Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
And what I love what he does, it's like there was a Matthew McConaughey movie, and what Guy Ritchie does so well with a variety of characters, he gives everybody a little quirk or an interesting like personality trait. So you got like
Quirk is a characteristic of his movies too. Everything's a little quirky, don't you think?
yeah, well, every character has this distinctive quality, and if you read any screenwriting books, they always say to distinguish a lot of characters, you got to give somebody an eye patch and a limp. Like that's the thing. So you can, and so he does that really well. Like you meet a mobster right away, and he's a fishmonger. Like his thing is he just sits there and he's cutting fish the entire time. He's wearing a sweatsuit. It's a very distinct character. Autistic kid comes in to count the money. He's wearing headphones, so you're listening to his music, and you can tell he's really a white guy into hip hop. Like everybody has something. There's another villain that you see that's super religious. and they're praying. They're in a church, like their mob headquarters is in a church, and so everyone's got something.
Yeah.
And it's well done.
I bet. I mean, that dude's been around for a minute.
Yeah, and Vinnie Jones is in.
He was a music video director initially, wasn't he, Guy Ritchie?
I don't know. He was married to Madonna.
Madonna, yeah. I feel like he was video.
Yeah, but I
music
feel
videos.
like Madonna. That relationship happened after Snatch. Great movie. Anyway, it's a really good series, and then Shogun is a whole nother thing that you gotta watch. It's great.
I've heard good things. I just haven't started it. Yeah.
What else? Kids are good.
Yeah, kids are great. Kids are great. My son's got a dance today. I can't wait to hear about it. He was excited. You know what? Last year, I went into his room while they were with their mom, and I was just like putting some clothes in. I found this crumpled up piece of paper. I'm like, oh, what's this? And I open it up, and it says, "Will you go to the dance with me?"
Oh shit.
Checkbox yes, checkbox no. Don't tell anyone. And so the next night, he was with me, and it was bedtime. You know, he reads, and I get in bed and read with him, and we hang out and catch up. You know, I do it with both my kids. And I go, hey, I found this, I wasn't snooping. I just found this crumped up piece of paper, and I saw that someone asked you to dance. And he goes, oh, yeah. And I go, who sent that? And he told me, and I was like, oh, and this girl's great. I go, oh, yeah, she's great. And he's like, yeah. And I go, what'd you tell her? He goes, I told her I wasn't going to the dance. And I go, oh, you don't want to go to the dance? And he's like, I don't know. I go, buddy, do you not want to go to the dance, or do you not want to go to the dance with her? And he goes, I don't know. And I go, can I be straight up with you? And he goes, yeah. I go, I don't think third graders should be asking other third graders to a dance. I go, I just think you should all be going and hanging out. I go, but she asked you. I go, so she put herself out there. She took a chance. That means she's going to get a yes or a no. And you don't have to feel guilty.
What grade is he in?
This is third grade.
Holy shit.
I go, you don't have to feel guilty about saying no. And you certainly don't need to not go to the dance because you feel bad telling her you don't want to go with her. So you're just going to sacrifice your own good time so that you don't have to, so that you can just tell her that you weren't going to go to the dance. I go, do you want to go to the dance? He's like, yeah, kind of. And I go, well, listen, that's on her. If she asked you, you could just tell her no and go with friends and say, I'll see you there. And I go, you know what the best part about this is? He goes, what? I go, it's a week away. You don't even have to decide right now. I go, if you want to go to the dance, bro, you go to the dance. You don't owe her a thing. And he went and he had a blast. Now this year, he's stoked, like super excited about it. He picked his clothes out, and I got him a disposable camera. I go, here, I got your disposable camera. Take pictures, give it to your friends, say that they can take pictures. Yeah, I go,
You got to do the winding.
that's the thing with Reed. I'm like, bro, you got to take the picture, turn the flash on because you're going to be indoors with lights, picture, crank.
None of those are going to come out.
But I still think
You're
it's
not going to
fun.
see one picture.
I
I'll
hope
try
they
it.
do,
It'll be
man.
upside down. Yeah, it'll be fun. I bought a bunch of a couple of Polaroid cameras, and recently everybody that comes into the bar, I'm taking a picture and we're lining them all up.
Yeah, I love that.
This
have
is happening
Polaroids, too.
sooner and sooner. This like
It's the parents, bro.
they're pushing like, who do you like? And so you think so, or is it TV and TikTok and all kinds of other shit?
Dude, my son's on TikTok.
Oh.
I mean,
But
he's
the
on
girls,
TV.
I don't know if like.
No, kids, fourth grade?
But is it like
I know
Disney,
they are somewhere, but
Disney
not at mine.
shows where it's like, are they watching content that is
That
making
stuff
them?
was maybe, but like this was, the girl that asked them out has 2 lesbian moms. I mean, what do you expect? That's what they're going to do. You want to ask a boy, go ask him. You know what I mean?
I had something happen in
Her moms are great, though. They're amazing
when
women.
Louisa. Way to clarify. When just in case, because they're probably listening, like everyone.
No, but I want other people to know. Like I'm not generalizing here. I just think that their daughter also. There were 2 stalls in the girls' bathrooms. She's in 3rd grade at the time. 2 stalls that the doors were broken. Had a petition signed around the school and petitioned to the principal, and the school stepped up and fixed all the stalls because of this girl.
Do you think she really did it, or is the moms did it?
I think the moms are a little involved. That's what I mean.
So we are in 5th grade. My daughter's in 5th grade. Valentine's Day rolls around, and then I see my daughter coming out of the class, and she's got a big heart-shaped box of candies and flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, what the hell is this? And I go marching up to the teacher, and I see a couple other moms talk to me because I ask some people, I go, what's with the elaborate gifts? I go, it's supposed to be one of those, like some sweet tarts and a little thing.
Exactly, yeah.
With a staple, and you write the name, or, and they make those prepackaged Valentines, and or those little sayings on them, like with the hearts.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Yeah. But this was a one-off thing.
This was a teddy bear, a box of candy, flowers, all this stuff. And then apparently 5 or 6 boys decided that they were going to go all in on like, these are our chicks, and they divided the women. And I walked right up to the teacher and I go, hey, what the hell's going on with the elaborate gifts? I go, you need to deal with this, squash it.
How many kids, how many dudes, do those all come from one dude?
No. Can you imagine? We'll put the gifts out there, see what comes back to us.
No, I'm saying who gave her those things?
A boy gave, obviously the parents had to go out and buy this shit.
Yeah.
But the boy moms were like, oh, you're going to go in on this is the girl that you have a crush on. It's 5th grade.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, we don't want these.
I mean, I had a girlfriend in 6th grade, and I would shovel driveways. I remember Karen Meduno, 7th grade, shoveling driveways with Rye Young. We made $38. We went right down to Redstone. I went to Woolworths, bought her chocolates and a teddy bear. I'm like, gotta have that for Valentine's Day. That was my game, baby.
Yeah, it's creepy.
7th grade. 7th grade? Come on, 7th grade?
No, this was 5th.
Yeah, 5th. You're still 11, I don't know.
Eh.
But I remember in 2nd grade getting asked out. I got asked out in 2nd grade.
Asked out.
Yeah, I got asked out. You want to go for a walk?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All right, I wanted to bring this up to you because it's not a dust up. Al and I have talked in past episodes is how we're reformed duster uppers, right?
I still get into it, but I'm way better than I was before.
Right. So I go to a restaurant. I just want to hear your take. I go to this restaurant with a friend of mine. It's a DP. We've worked together. We go to a nice meal. And to give you an idea of the quality of the food, it was a fusion restaurant, Japanese and French. Okay? And I got the sea bass, $67 for a sea bass.
Sheesh.
Just to give you an idea of what it is. That was very
Chilean?
Yeah. It was the sea bass was phenomenal.
Are there other types? Is that
Well, sea bass is like a whitefish, so it's also kind of like fits into another.
But sea bass isn't all Chilean sea bass.
No.
Okay.
No. There's an Italian version of the sea bass too, which is called
Branzino.
Branzino. It's almost the same fish.
Oh.
They're cousins or something. Anyway, we got appetizers. We got a sashimi, which was amazing. Some olives that were great. They soak them in lemon juice. And then we got a baguette. Okay? We got a baguette. You're at a French fusion restaurant, right? Where the sea bass is $67. They had one steak that was $130. If you ordered a baguette, what do you, Al Madrigal, expect that baguette comes to the table like? How do you expect it?
I expect it all divvied up like all bread does come. Like you get a basket and it's
You think a basket?
A basket sliced.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you want, a full loaf?
If I'm paying $67 for a sea bass and you offer a baguette, I want to know that it's made in-house. You know what I mean? So you would expect that the baguette would come out, and I would expect like a rustic wood that it would come on like a cutting board of sorts with some butter that's like a salted
You're acting
butter.
like they threw it at you. How'd they deliver
I
it?
haven't told you how it came out yet. With some nice butter, salted, you know what I mean? That's what I wanted. It came out in a bowl, and in the middle of the bowl was a thing of butter, like a little ramekin.
Like family Italian
salted
restaurant
butter
style.
But they took the baguette and they cut it into like these like pucks, like this thin, and then like this, and then they put those around in a circle in the plate around the thing. And when they brought it, I'm in the middle of a conversation with my
Gave
buddy.
it a little presentation. Too much.
They didn't do enough. It looked like shitty bread. Like, I want to see the baguette. Where you're at a French place. Show me the baguette. Have a better So I'm sitting there talking to my DP,
Like
Andrew.
he walks out like this. You still
No, I don't want it in a brown
like,
bag.
You got like what's the equivalent of a sommelier? Like the bread guy comes around.
Exactly. But I want to tear it apart with my hands. It's a baguette. You're a French place.
No.
Anyway, I'm sitting there.
Other people would be pissed if a full baguette came out.
No, they wouldn't.
They would want to
put
cut
a
up.
knife. So I'm sitting there, and a DP. They do lighting. They do coloring. They make things beautiful. We're in a conversation. I'm talking. I see him look at the baguette presentation. I look at it, and then I stop the conversation. And he looks at me. He goes, Wouldn't you think it would come out a little different than that? I go, dude, 100%. All I was thinking is he goes, and we had the same opinion, right? We eat the whole meal, and then it's a great meal. And then we're leaving. He goes, you ready to get out of here? I'm like, I kind of want to talk to the manager about the baguette.
Hilarious.
And he goes, yeah? And I go, yeah.
Just to give him shit.
Not to give shit at all, to offer, my thoughts of like, hey, do a better presentation with this baguette. So I grabbed the manager. I go, hey, man. He goes, how was everything? I go, food was lovely, amazing. I had the sea bass. He goes, oh, that's great. I go, I do want to bring up the baguette. And he goes, okay. And I go, the presentation to me. And he goes, I know. He goes, we're working. He goes, it should be coming out. I go, I think I led it to him. Like, how do you think it should come out? He goes, it should come out on like a wood board and should have it. And I was like, exactly. I go, that's exactly. We said the same thing. He's like, I know they've been open 6 months. We're still figuring it out. I'm like, yeah. I go, I did not expect the little like putt. And he goes, I know. He goes, let me get you guys a drink. You want a drink? I'm like, no, we got to get out of here. But
I'm
anyway.
not looking for a drink. No, I just want to tell you.
I just want to improve.
Yeah.
And it was funny because Andrew and I, we've never really gone to dinner. We work together. And so I said to him, I go, you cool if I say something? He goes, yeah. I go, I went to a friends and family one time at a restaurant and, so they're just opening and I grabbed the manager. They go, what do you think? I'm like, food's great. I go, can I talk to you about the lighting? We got to work on the lighting around here. And he was just like, no, I think people, listen, you can go tell me to fuck off. I don't care, but I think I'm offering a little insight. You know what I mean?
Me and my daughter were driving home, and I stopped by Pie and Burger in Pasadena, famous pie and burger place if you're ever in the area. Louise had eaten.
Yeah.
I knew where we were. I'm driving home. I go.
Well, she's probably full from all the chocolates, right? From Valentine's?
Call Pie and Burger. We order 2 slices of pie, 1 boysenberry, 1 cherry, burger and fries.
You like a boysenberry pie?
Yeah, we were going to split them.
Yeah.
So pull in. I check that the lady, we ring out. I go, everything's in here? And he goes, let me check.
Oh.
He goes to the woman. She goes, is the pie in the bag? And she goes, I put it in there myself. The pie's in the bag. Get home, 2 burgers. No pie. And we were talking about it. We were looking forward to this pie so much. So at Pie and Burger right now, there's a little note under the register because I called back. She's like,
how far is it from your house?
It's 15 minutes. I wasn't going back there.
Yeah.
And because I was exhausted. And it's late. But she said there's a note with, she's giving me 3 slices.
Yeah.
1 peach.
I love a neighborhood spot where you can get the note and they leave it there and they go, you just pull up and you're like, yeah, so I came in the other day, you have the slice. They go, and they go, there should be a note around somewhere.
Yeah.
I had
Watch,
that.
Yeah. Too bad this wasn't live, so 4 people could beat me to it.
Yeah. Yeah. We had that at a restaurant. I took the kids and we ordered a sundae, but no one really wanted the sundae and I didn't want to go through the whole process of returning. And I go, can you just put a note up that someone will know that we're owed a sundae? And they were like, yeah. And then 4 months later, I go in and I'm with the kids and I place our order and I go, also, we have a sundae that's on hold for us. And the owner was there and the person working was like, oh yeah, it's over here. They grabbed the note and the owner just seemed pissed. What
the fuck is this sundae on hold?
Well, what do you want me to do? That's my sundae. I love that.
There was a note.
That's Old Town, baby.
So, yeah, it's this, week we're talking about Malice in the Palace. We're talking about a big basketball fight. The basketball playoffs are happening right now.
Are you watching them?
I'm watching a little bit. I'm paying attention.
I'm watching them.
Because your team is still in it. I'm a Golden State Warrior fan, and we went out as soon as any team can go out in the play-in.
Yeah.
So, and if you're not aware, it's there's a play-in tournament now in basketball. And so 7, 8, 9, and 10 all play to determine who's going to be the bottom at 7 and 8. So, but Miami got a game off you guys, huh? Is that what happened?
Yeah, but here's the deal. Here's the other deal. Let me get a beef out there. I have a couple friends that they're fans of a team that the Celtics were playing earlier in the season, and when we were about to play them, I just threw a text out to them. I go, hey, fellas, how do you feel about the game tonight? It's going to be a good game tonight. And then they say something back, and then I say something back, and I'm supporting their team. They're Nuggets fans, and I talk about how much I love Jokic and Murray and Porter and the dude with 3 names.
It's kind of hard not to like that team.
When I'm going to talk sports with someone, if my team's playing with your team, I can totally see that you're going to root for your team. I'm rooting for mine, but I'm still going to shine a bright light on your squad.
Sure, you're like a coach of the opposing team.
And they started talking shit, and they're just like, I'm like, whoa, we're not. I didn't know we were really talking shit here. I was kind of just like, it was a little bit, and they kept going. And then the Celtics lose to Miami, and one of them texted me and goes, you nervous? And I just sent a voice text back, and I go, here's the deal. There's certain friends that you can talk sports with, and other guys that are just homers. And I go, you're clearly a homer. And I just gave this 4-minute rant, and then he wrote back, I just asked if you're nervous. Anyway, Yeah, I'm excited about my Celtics, but the Heat always play as tough. The Nuggets, if you are a slightly basketball fan, watch a Denver Nuggets game and watch Nikola Jokic play. It's insanity.
He's such a good passer.
He's
And
unreal.
some of the 3-point shots that team was making in a game 1 versus the Lakers are worth watching on highlights alone.
He's unbelievable.
And when you talk about the Golden State Warriors and dust-ups,
But we're not talking about
we
the
are
Warriors.
now. It's difficult not to talk about dust-ups with Draymond Green.
Yeah,
and he's really
dude's
the
about
reason
it.
why he has got so egregious fouls, and fights and
Which, you know what? Who I would, in the story that we're going to tell today, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, has a similar thing like Draymond. Don't you think? Especially this last year.
he was a tough guy that people had on their teams. Teams had, every team back in the day had almost like an enforcer.
Especially the old school Pistons.
Sure, yeah, exactly. So you have these guys like this Dennis Rodman or somebody that you
Bill
just
Laimbeer.
Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman. There were just these guys that you did not mess with.
Because not everyone needed to score. And so you had these guys that could rebound, box out, and agitate.
And use their fouls.
Yep, use their fouls.
So sometimes you had people come in just to use their fouls.
Yeah.
And just so anyway, Draymond, he's great to have on your team, and the offense flows so well when he's in there facilitating, and they figured some stuff out. But he was gone for 15 games, and
And he was gone, why?
He was gone because the league suspended him almost indefinitely, and he had to take some time for himself.
Because he did what?
He grabbed a guy. I mean, he did this
He tried
multiple
to
times.
choke a guy.
Well, he choked a guy. It was Rudy Gobert. You can go back and look at it, but Rudy Gobert deserves to be choked.
And
if
do you
I
know
was
why?
in there,
Do you
I
know
would
why he
choke him.
deserves to be choked? Because he started the COVID-19.
He started COVID.
He started COVID.
He started COVID. So look back at that. He did. He's like, oh, COVID. Like that and touching microphones.
Don't hit on him. Don't knock him down because he's French.
I went to French school. I can do it. I'm half Mexican who went to French school. So he sucks, and everybody in the NBA hates him.
He's
And-
also won Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, and he's probably going to win it again this year. He's a very good player, and the reason the Timberwolves are very Anthony Edwards is the man, but Rudy Gobert is a very good player.
Even in the finals, the only way that the Cavs won is because he kicked LeBron in the ween, and then they came back from when we were down 3-1. If you remember that,
Oh, you mean Draymond?
Draymond, they
back
were
to
down.
Draymond.
They were down 3-1, and Draymond sort of lost us that series. in
Draymond's had a
finals.
history in his whole career of being a bit of an agitator.
Correct. So I don't think he's nearly as crazy. He's just plays very emotionally. I fouled out of pretty much 85% of the basketball games that I played in.
I'm sorry. Are we going from comparing Ron Artest to Draymond Green to now you?
Al Madrigal in 6th grade.
Okay, yeah. yeah.
I would really get
What is
rough.
it, like intramural hoops?
No, it was the team. We were the Notre Dame de Victoire.
No, you weren't. Devatois?
We had a French priest named Father C. Fair, and my mom still tells this story. So they got up. They had to give us our name of our sports teams. They wanted to rename us, and he said, "I propose that we are the Coqs," because it's a French school.
Mm-hmm.
So like Coq Sportif, a fighting rooster.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't that what was that clothing brand?
Coq Sportif.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Just said it.
I didn't know how to pronounce it. I think I used to call it Le Fosso. I don't know.
So anyway, and
used
all
to
the
love
moms spit their wines up because we can't be the NDV Cox. Here come the Cox.
South Carolina.
So yeah, the Gamecocks. So anyway, I played. I think basketball started 4th grade. It was 4th grade through 8th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and I was put on the B team and pissed about
Sounds
it.
about right.
No, I was good.
For the B team.
No, I was good, great for the B team.
Okay.
And then I went back to that same school, and when I was 25, because I was in the city, and the guy, athletic director, somehow I ran into him. He's like, "You could coach a basketball team?" And I go, "Yeah." I wasn't doing stand-up yet. I go, "I'll coach a basketball team." but they gave me the B team after having a team together the entire time. So just in 8th grade, these poor kids that never played got put on one team. And I had 3 Chinese guys that were all with the last name Wong, so I called it the Wong defense. And I just had them smother their best player and just go like this to them. And then we got beat 93-2 at one point because they put us in a tournament.
Oh my God!
We got beat the next night.
Who led the team in scoring?
One kid threw up a Hail Mary
Yeah.
that happened to go in, and that was our only point.
Oh man,
and it was
that's
just
tough.
And then, because we were playing teams for like Sacramento with their like socks pulled up, and they like came down. Why we were in this tournament. Then I had my brother. They were 17 years old, and they were in high school, him and his friend. And I go, we're going to get our ass kicked in this tournament. I need you and Matt to come to pretend to be on my team. We lost 89-10 with 2 17-year-olds on the team.
What do you mean? Did they play?
I put them in uniforms. I put them out there.
Al. That's insane. Were they any good at basketball?
They were 17-year-old, like
Against 12-year-olds?
They were 8th graders, so they were 13.
Wow.
I got banned from a couple games where I got kicked out at halftime, and the ref just goes, game over. He told one of my players to shut up. And at the halftime, I go, did you just tell an 8th grader to shut up? And he goes, you know what? You're done. He goes, this game is over. You guys are out of here. And just stop the entire
There must
game.
have been more going on, Al.
I was probably chirping from the bench.
Yeah, you probably had a couple things going on.
So
Knowing you.
I was always
At
yelling.
25?
And then
God knows what Al Madrigal was doing.
And then we were losing. We'd lost every single game. And finally, I got some of the A-team players to come play on our team, and we won a game that we shouldn't have won. And it was a whole controversy, and I'm banned from like CYO coaching and basketball.
You should
for
be.
life.
But
back to this Malice in the Palace. If you don't know it, it's a very famous. It's like the first big bench clearing brawl in.
Well, there were plenty of bench clearing
brawls, but not
in
involving the
sports.
fans.
Never involving the fans.
So this is when, like, and if you watch some of this video, like fans squaring up with basketball players, fans on the court, and it all starts with a beer being thrown.
Well, yeah, there was a fight between the Pacers and the. So here's do you remember where you were?
I don't. I mean, where
I do.
I don't know. Remember, it was a where were you when?
It
like
was for
9/11.
me, and I'll tell you why. Because we talked about this. We talked about this with Ben, our producer, a couple weeks ago. How I was saying on Instagram right now, Sports Center will show fights from every college or anywhere they're happening, and they just act as if it's like a highlight. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the way I used to look at politics in the news. You used to be able to look to the news to give you a non-allegiance reporting of the news. Now it's CNN as if you're liberal, Fox News as if you're conservative,
MSNBC if you're like more liberal.
Yeah,
and
there's no one that's just like, hey, we're gonna go right down the middle and just tell you the news.
Well, Fox was fair and balanced. That was their slogan for a long time.
Okay, well,
they're not. And then CNN was supposed to be that middle ground.
And then they just decided it was like
it didn't work.
Imagine trying to fight someone and they're like biting your ear off, and then like they just.
But there
don't
isn't
stop.
like this centrist sort of perspective,
right?
or
And that's
anything like
ESPN. You're just like, yeah, tell us about the sports. And now they're like, well, we need to get clickbait. We need to get title. So they do
people
these.
Love the fights. I mean, there's whole Instagram accounts. There's World Star. Like people love the dust ups. They
Right.
love the fights and the feuds. And if they know that's what people are, it's like tuning into a car chase on the news in Los Angeles.
Totally.
If there's a car chase, they have the helicopter.
But it
out there
wasn't-
following it. And people are saying, "You're watching this car chase," and
Yeah.
everybody tunes in.
And it wasn't always this way.
No.
And this fight was the first time it happened. And let me tell you something about Jay Larson. I don't like fights. I don't like physical fights. I don't like fighting. I like verbal and like trying to, because I look at it like a game. Like, how do we get out of this? How do we navigate it? But I do not like, and I remember when this happened because I was going to dinner at, what's that sushi restaurant next to
The French place? The Japanese restaurant where
No.
they cut up the bread weird?
No, next to the Comedy Store. It's like Katana.
Yeah, that place is good.
I
Don Marrero was like a god in there. You'd walk in with Don Marrero, and everybody knew him because he ate there like 3 times a
Really?
week. Yeah.
Well, this was, I was like, I was 3 years into comedy, barely past at the Comedy Store, and I was doing running a room for Friday and Saturday nights in the belly room with Jay Davis, and we used to see this woman who was a graphic designer, and she was designing our flyers, and I took her to dinner. We met Jay, and then I took her to Katana, and then we had a good night. But that was the night of the fight, and they just kept showing it over and over, and everyone's watching it. And I just said to her, I'm like, are you cool if we just sit away from all this? I don't want to look at this. And I think the strength is in these things is turning your back on, the violence or the if you see a fire and everyone stops to look at a fire.
It's rubbernecking, and it's watching local news. If you do happen to turn on local news and you live in a major metropolitan area, everything is just negative. It's murder tonight.
Yeah.
In every single city, they just bounce to violence in all of the surrounding towns,
right?
Because there's always something horrible happening everywhere, and we're just so aware of it. And you're just being bombarded with violence and negativity nonstop.
Yeah,
and we're doing a podcast about it,
but we're not. We're not talking about fight. I'm talking about physical fights.
It's the worst.
And that's
this
what
this
this
was a big one. It should never have escalated the way it did. And I don't know if you want to back up more than this, but let me just start the altercation.
Yeah.
So a player on the bench, the Pacers are winning this game 97-82, I believe. There's about a minute. This game's over.
Yeah.
And somebody from the bench looks at Ron Artest and says, "You can get your foul. You can get your foul." So he fouls Ben Wallace, who had just lost his brother. That's a little backstory for him. Do you have anything more on that?
No, except that I will say Ben Wallace was not a Division I basketball player. I'm almost positive he was either D2 or a D1A. It's, Western Michigan, less than that, okay? Ben Wallace played center, and he was 6'8" or 6'9", way undersized for a center, okay?
Correct.
And Ben Wallace won Defensive Player of the Year and was an amazing role guy of, I rebound, every now and then I'm going to put the points in, I'm going to play great defense. But being a guy who didn't go to a big college, is undersized for his role, he had a huge chip on his shoulder, and that's what gave him drive, I believe. I used to love Ben Wallace. By the way, one of the greatest commercials, go look up EA Sports, Ben Wallace, Tracy Morgan. And Tracy, you ever remember this one?
I think I do.
Ben Wallace coming up the stairwell, and Tracy Morgan comes down short shorts and a tank top and a fanny pack, and he goes, "Oh, Big Ben Wallace, looks like you're going the wrong direction, bro."
I do remember that.
And he goes, "Oh, okay, bro." And he goes, "Oh, bro, huh?" It's unbelievable, dude. It's one of the greatest commercials anyway. Ben Wallace, the Pistons were winning. They won the NBA championship the year before the game that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And they beat the Pacers to go to the NBA Finals, correct?
So these teams do not
They have a
like
history.
each other.
Yeah,
and
they have a history.
the Pistons, as we've said before, always were the bad boys.
Yep, they had that rep.
beer. They were a tough team to play against. And this is a time in the NBA where they're not calling these ticky-tack fouls like they are now. Like they are.
Yeah.
And they're actually, towards the end of this NBA season, the refs are letting them play a little bit more. So, anyway, this foul happens. It's contentious. Ron Artest goes and he lies down. By the way, Ron Artest, and I wanted to do this for you. Ron Artest changed his name to what?
Meta World Peace.
Meta World Peace.
I'm in defense of Ron Artest in a lot of reasons.
I think he's a big reason that this happened.
He is the reason.
He's the reason. He was suspended for the rest of the season.
After we go through the rest of the fight here.
What this show does and what we've learned, and thank you so much for sticking with us if you're listening, but as the show evolves, we're
not going anywhere. We're going to keep
Yeah.
experimenting, doing stuff like
But what we're finding is that it's telling you about this with all the tangents that come along the way, and I want to ask you about other famous people who have changed their names. And,
Yeah.
Okay. You obviously know. Do you know Charlie Sheen? What he was?
No.
Charlie Sheen was Carlos Irwin Estevez. His dad adopted Machine from his father, who changed his name from Ramon Antonio Gerardo Estevez.
Wow.
Changed it. It wasn't so cool to be Latino, so he's like, I got to go by Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Sheen.
Whoopi Goldberg.
No.
Karen Elaine Johnson.
Wow.
Yep.
You know what I do know about Whoopi Goldberg? She bartends at a bar in Gloucester, Massachusetts, like when she's hanging around.
No way.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx.
I don't want to know him as anything but Jamie Foxx. I think Jamie Foxx is the most talented man on the planet. Go.
Eric Marlon Bishop.
That's a tight name. I would just would have gone by Marlon Bishop.
Portia de Rossi.
Tell me.
Amanda Lee Rogers.
Can I tell you a side note on Portia de Rossi?
What? She picked a great one.
Married to Ellen, right?
Yeah.
Or they're now divorced.
Huh.
I have a friend whose friend was up there at their ranch in Montecito. They had like a 38-acre.
I've been to a couple of their houses.
Okay.
They do a good job.
Yeah, they do a real good job.
Yeah.
And my friend starts telling me the story, and I go, I know that house because it was in Architectural Digest, and I love AD, and I've seen the article.
AD.
It's an amazing thing. And he goes, so they're up there. This is how cold Ellen DeGeneres is, from what I've heard. And this is an example. They're up there for the day, and Portia de Rossi's out like gardening, and then with the horses and like petting the horse, and she comes inside and she says, I just want to thank you for this, that we have this house, being with the animals and having friends here to celebrate. This is my heaven on earth. And Ellen goes, I put it on the market 2 days ago. We're selling it. That's how ruthless and cutthroat.
Yeah. We'll take a good look around.
Take a look
Better go
around.
fucking pet that horse again, bitch. Because we'll fucking it's over.
Get a trot in.
We'll take it to go.
It's listed for like 50. I mean, this was a while ago. But, all right, go ahead.
All right, we got Portia de Rossi. I think she picked a fantastic name, and she loves to pet horses and garden.
What is it that her name?
I like how you have friends over, and then you're like, I'll be over here gardening and petting this horse. You guys can just sit.
Yeah, but that place is like that. It was like 38 acres.
Sure, it's like this big resort. Vin Diesel, you know that's a fake one.
Of course. What is it?
Mark Sinclair Vincent.
Interesting.
Marilyn, you got
You know how much confidence you need to have to say, I'm going to change my name, and I'm going to change it to Vin Diesel?
A lot of these are like that.
You change your name to Vin Diesel?
All right, Marilyn Monroe, you know that one.
I don't.
Norma Jean Mortensen.
Yeah, Norma Jean. Goodbye,
Later.
Norma Jean.
John Wayne. He had to change it.
What was it?
Marion
what?
Robert Morrison.
And he said, I'm going to be John
But he could have been Robert Morrison. Anyway, a lot of people do that. They take that. Elton John.
How weird is it that I just sang him? I don't know what.
Reginald Kenneth Dwight.
That guy's so arrogant.
I got a couple more. You want some more?
Yeah, give me two more.
We already know. How about Joan Rivers?
No, what?
Joan Malinsky.
I never thought once about changing my name.
Sorry, these are good ones.
What?
Sting. Well, you know Sting, right? You can't be Sting.
No.
He's Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner. Lady Gaga. Stephanie Joanne Angelina Giamanata.
How come they all have like 7 names?
Giamanata. Stephanie Joanne Angelina Giamanata.
God damn it. Sounds like everyone's mad at her.
Yeah. Oh my God, Natalie Portman.
What?
Natalie Hirschlag.
Wow. Yeah, you got to change that.
Helen Mirren.
That's a great name.
It is. She picked a good one. Another one. Elena Lydia Vasilievna Moronov.
Good Lord. Who are these people giving all these names away?
I don't know. Listen to this one. You're right. Everybody's got these long-ass names. Meg Ryan.
What?
Margaret Mary Emily Ann Hira.
Oh, my God.
That can't be real. And then what about Reese Witherspoon? You didn't know that?
No. I don't know any of this. What was hers?
Laura Jean. Reese Witherspoon. All right.
But here's the deal. Meta World Peace changed his name to... Because he was trying to make it... First, okay, so...
Ben just sent me one more.
What?
Bob Dylan.
What was it?
Robert Allen Zimmerman. Bob Dylan's better.
Robert Allen Zimmerman's doing your taxes from
I know,
1975. I will say, one of the biggest one, Lou Alcindor,
Yeah.
turned into, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but that was about Islam.
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali, for sure. The thing about Ron Artest, he has the hard foul on Ben Wallace. It turns into a scuffle.
He goes and lays down on the scorer's bench.
He goes to lay down on the scorer's bench, which is a weird move. He's a weird dude.
He's a weird dude.
I do think he has some. He might have, mental.
He's on the spectrum.
Yes, for sure. So he laid down on the bench on the scorer's table, which he said was a thing his therapist had recommended when he gets upset to take 5 seconds to just decompress. Now, even if that is the case, which I do believe that can be the case, it's still a weird place to lay down.
He could have laid down on the court.
He could have gone to the bench and just sat in
his
chair.
He has a chair.
He was just making a statement.
Yes.
I also want to say to everyone listening, the Pacers were in first place, right? They were having one of the best
The season
starts.
Had,
It was newly started. But Ron Artest was averaging the most points he'd ever averaged in a season. There's an article out there that debates whether or not he was an MVP candidate. I mean, there were like 8 games in the season, and then Jermaine O'Neal's playing well. The whole team is just playing well. They're just stacked. You know what I mean? They're going to be a great team. So he's laying down the scorer's table. Do you want to take it from right here?
And a guy,
A fan,
a fan,
a fucking chotch.
yes, just dirtbag throws a beer and hits him.
Yeah.
And he spins around, Ron Artest, and runs up. Then he runs and goes for the wrong guy.
He goes for the wrong guy.
And the guy who actually threw the beer then sucker punches him
From behind.
from
yep.
behind.
Now, he goes into the stands, and then, what's his face?
It's a melee. This
but
is a
only
melee.
3 guys went up there.
So
Steven Jackson
O'Neal.
and Meta World Peace, Ron Artest at the time.
So these are the 3 guys that get the big suspensions.
Yes.
And fans are down on the court. And what happens afterwards, and this is what the most disturbing thing. So David Stern, just
The NBA commissioner.
the NBA commissioner at the time, now deceased, he doesn't even, usually there's like a players committee and everyone would vote on, so head of the Players Association, Joe Dumars decides Draymond Green is going to get suspended for 15 games or whatever it is.
Joe Dumars was on that Detroit Pistons team that had all Bill Laimbeer and everybody.
Exactly. So there usually is a committee. David Stern he says, who decided? And he says, 1. It was unanimous, 1-0.
Yeah, Ron
Like,
Artest
I decided.
suspended for the year.
Ron Artest suspended. Jermaine O'Neal and
Steven
Jackson, 30 games, or 30 and 25.
Yeah.
I think Jermaine O'Neal went and appealed. They looked at all the footage because just what you saw on ESPN and just what you saw repeated everywhere, like you're taking this girl to Katana and you're seeing it on the news nonstop, is that people are going thugs, 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 thugs.
Yeah.
NBA players are crossing the line, and it's all a bunch of white pundits, like basically calling these guys thugs without seeing all the footage where it was instigated by fans that wanted action. And
Well, I don't know if they want action. They just think athletes forever, especially in the NBA, those guys, and there's a whole thing in baseball where like fans are just able to say things. When you go to an NBA game, if you're sitting courtside, you're right next to them.
the guy that threw the beer was on probation for 3 drunk driving arrests. He said it was a Diet Coke, but it clearly was a beer. And, he was not supposed to be drinking. And he's clearly like a mess.
He was a dirtbag. They said afterwards, did you feel bad when Ron Artest ran up and started punching another guy? He goes, no, I felt bad that I didn't get a trip in, like to trip him.
Yeah, he's a complete dirtbag.
And these guys had no protection back then, the NBA. Like,
There's no security at all. So it becomes this whole thing where we really villainize these black players, start calling them thugs. Do they have too much money? You should listen to all this footage. There's a great documentary that's done, it's the behind the scenes Malice in the Palace.
Yeah.
And, who you really feel bad for at the end of this is Reggie Miller, because this was his last
Shot at getting a
opportunity
title.
to see he retires that same season. They really did have a chance. This was a great team.
It was stacked.
And because they take away Ron Artest was a good player. He was just
Yeah, well, they lost him for the whole season. He was the leading scorer on the team.
And Steven Jackson was great at that time.
Steven Jackson, great defender, and then Jermaine O'Neal was like young and dominant down low.
We
He was
ended
a high
up getting
school
a
kid.
bunch of those players on the Warriors. We got Al Harrington. We got Steven Jackson, and we got Jermaine
Al
O'Neal.
Harrington was on that team too. He was another
Yeah.
high school guy.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right, so the whole thing breaks out. These guys, and then Meta change. Obviously Ron Artest changed his name to Meta World Peace. So, also they were putting that idea on these black players. This is something no one ever talks about. They always say like, oh, you don't see any black hockey players. There's very few in the NHL. Jeremy, you know what the percentage of Major League Baseball players that are black are?
Lower?
It's like 2.8% are black. Not Dominican, not Cuban.
Well, there are Afro-Latinos players.
Right, but I'm
playing.
talking like black American. You know what I mean? Like African American kids that grew up in
Well, and that's a whole nother thing, because what's happened with club sports in the United States, it's really priced out a lot of inner city kids
city.
from baseball and volleyball, and all of those things have become. That's why, like, our club for volleyball would do tons of scholarships, because they were well aware of that problem.
Well, it's also because not even club. Try to get 18 people together to play a game of baseball and to have a field. If you're talking inner city, with basketball,
the equipment.
you need one thing: a ball and a hoop.
Yeah.
And you don't need a whole team to practice. But to practice baseball, you need someone to pitch to you. You need a bat. You need a glove. You need all this stuff.
Same thing with hockey, and there's lots of equipment, and there's just
oh
big
my God.
investment.
Yeah.
The one of the Jermaine O'Neal made the point about hockey. There's just hockey fights nonstop.
Yeah.
That's part of the game,
part of
and
it.
we fight, and we're thugs and criminals.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Which, by the way, ESPN put out the other day a clip of this kid. He was like in mites. You know what I mean? Fighting in hockey. Like, you're not supposed to fight when you're like
little.
8 and 12. You get as you get older. My buddy played pro hockey, and he played till he was like 42. By the time he was like 42, he was like a player coach.
Now, your kids don't really do sports at this point because they don't like competitive sports, but my kids played.
Don't tell me what my kids.
I do know this stuff.
Okay,
Am I right?
a little bit, yeah.
So,
But my son is doing basketball at school now,
and non-competitive.
soccer, and golf. They just don't like. They don't. I love it. I'm. I always had a chip on my shoulder and was competitive at sports, but my kids, there's not really a chip. I'm gonna have to like.
So, one of my favorite stories is from volleyball. We have this little Filipino dad next to me, and his name is Danny. And Danny is sitting there, and he just is chatty. So we're playing, and really what it's like the movie Dodgeball, where you see like different types of people come in, but it's all Southern Californians. There's all these surfer community dads that walk in with flip-flops and board shorts and trucker hats, and they stand there in their sweatshirts, Marine Lair sweatshirts, Aviator Nation shit. There's all the Aviator Nation moms that come in. So you see all the beach communities, because that's where volleyball thrives. And then you see the Vegas team comes in, and and then the hillbilly team comes in from some a ranching community, and they got a cowbell and they're banging that. It's crazy. I threatened a guy because
What do you mean threatened?
he was screaming when our girls were serving. They're like 13 years old, and our girls are serving, and the guy's screaming every time our girls serve, and then they're hitting a cowbell. The moms all look at me because they know that I'll do something, and she goes, this one mom goes, can you go tell him?
And you're like,
And I
I'm just
go,
waiting for someone to ask.
I'm on it, and I walked over, and I go to another mom. I go, hey, do you mind telling your dad, like, I get cheering, but screaming as they serve as a parent is like, you don't see that. That's a little psycho.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, he's just passionate. And I go, well, if he keeps being passionate, he's going to get pulled by the hair out of here. and we'll see if he's still passionate.
By me and that little Filipino dad, Danny, over there.
So, but me and Danny are sitting there, and you sit with the teams on your side, and it's like, you know, you're just cheering, and Danny talks, and he breaks a cardinal rule, and that is he talks to the kid on the court.
Oh,
This girl missed.
Danny.
She touched a ball, but it was called out. It was a serve, but she really put her hands up, and you could sort of hit her fingers. And he goes, she touched it. And then the girl looked over, and he looks the girl right in the eyes, and he goes, you know you touched it. She's fucking 12, man.
Yeah.
And she walks around. She puts her head down because she touched it. And she got scared, and tears well in her eye, and she walks and tells her coach. You see the coach look at Danny. I saw the whole thing happening. And I go to the snack bar right now. And he goes, what? And I go, just go fucking stand by the snack bar, and I'll come and get you.
Al.
And he goes, okay, why? And I go, you're about to get in some deep shit if you don't walk to the fucking snack bar, man. And he goes, he picks all his shit up, and he goes into snack bar. And I see the coach, and they look over at where he was. Then the dad of the crying girl walks up and goes, what's going on? He looks over, and at a timeout, 3 buff. I'm talking about like these guys, when you get into volleyball, they're all like 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah.
This buff dad in the tank tops, because they're from Temecula, all come over, and they're like, you guys talking? He picked the wrong Asian guy. This guy Tommy was just sitting there.
They all look alike,
Yeah.
man.
He's a tall Chinese guy, like the opposite. And I go, first of all, that was not him. And I go, fellas, I go, so sorry. I go, that guy, I sent him to the snack bar. And he did talk to one of the girls. I go, he's just chatty. There's nothing mean-spirited about it. And I'm so sorry that happened. Just it completely de-escalated the situation. These dudes were going to fuck him up.
Mm-hmm.
And...
Yeah, man, you're talking about someone's kid.
yeah,
Forget it.
totally. But making a little girl cry is just completely unnecessary, because when it comes down to it, my daughter's done with the sport now, nothing matters. This all doesn't matter.
Which is exactly why I don't care that my kids don't want to play competitive sports, because
Don't.
look at this shit.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Fucking
Anyway,
yahoos.
but club, I want you to write in with your club sports beefs. I'd love to talk about them.
I'd love to talk
because
about
they
any
just
of your
happen
beefs.
nonstop.
And,
yeah.
I will say, the town over from us, Reading, Massachusetts, when I was growing up, there was a fight between parents in the stands,
Mm-hmm.
and a dad died.
What?
He fell and hit his head on the concrete in the hockey arena. Hockey parents, by the way, are just...
No, all sports parents, like the dads
But-
screaming at their sons, like,
I
and just
know.
making kids upset. You hear about the Todd Marindovich, like, and situation where you
All
push.
his dad say was take away sugar.
You can write to us with your dust-ups. We want to hear about them. I think we had a couple come in. We should thedustuppod at Gmail. You can call us 925-727-3878. And you can follow us at the Dust Up Podcast, the Dust Up Pod on Twitter, TikTok, the Dust Up, YouTube, the Dust Up.
And everyone obviously listening, we appreciate how much you're listening. Go give us a rating, a review, subscribe, and share. When we post, we see if you're following us, I see people seeing views. Repost, share, tell people it's the only way we're going to grow, because we're going to be here and we're just going to keep doing our thing.
And thanks for listening.
Thank you
We
very
really
much.
appreciate all the people that are listening to these first shows. It means a lot. So thank you. This has been the Dust Up. Here's our theme song provided by the Flat Trackers.